Hello once again, coast to coast, to my amazing Brokers Playbook audience. Thank you for being here, and you're in for a treat. A lot of you, hundreds of you, continuously ask for guidance on creation of brand and what is brand and how is brand relevant to our business of real estate. Well, I have Camille Moore on today, and she is going to be going over the fundamentals of what brand means, why it's not only something that you want, but something that you require to stay relevant and in business in the age of social media, where people are paying big money and putting in a lot of time to stay relevant. You need to as well. And here is where you're going to get your playbook on creating the best brand for you. See you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Brokers Playbook. And today, I have one of the OGs of Brokers Playbook. Miss Camille Moore is joining me from Thirdeye Insight. She is someone I have worked with for years. She has been a friend for years. She has been a creative force behind the origins of my personal brand, and I'm proud to call her a friend, a colleague, of course, and an industry expert that I trust dearly. Camille Moore, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Camille Moore, you are one of the founders of Thirdeye Insight. We have worked together for years. Tell me a little bit about that early journey, because right now you have reached global clients over the last, let's call it 4 years that I've known you, and we've worked together. You're reaching global clients, you're hitting big stages to present what you do for a living and how you help brands get out of their way. And that's all we're going to talk about today. Tell me a little bit about that early journey and how you got to where you are today.
It's been a lot of fun. And it's this is like a conversation that's close to my heart, because you've really seen it since
inception.
Since inception, and how I
vice versa, by the way.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah.
We kind of started companies at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was you had just begun. You were a year in when we started Brokers Playbook.
Yeah.
So you met me on the REC days. And of course, REC continues to thrive.
Totally.
But you met me and you took on an assignment to get started with Brokers Playbook. So tell me about what that felt like at that time and where you were at to where you are today.
I was eager. I was young. I was excited. I didn't have a plan in almost a good way. Like, I knew that life was leading its course. I felt I was exactly where I wanted to be, and I was excited for the opportunity to learn from whatever life was going to throw at me. And I've learned a lot over the past 4 years, on a personal level, on running a business and dealing with humans and the bullshit that you experience when running a business in marketing.
Dealing with humans.
So dealing with humans.
It's dealing with humans.
Dealing with humans. But also the technology, and just digital and the landscape and COVID, what a time that was for marketing. And I think that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I say that with hesitation because I know how devastating it was for so many people. But to start a marketing agency before the pandemic and to be in your 20s for a time when there was so much uncertainty, and where all the businesses went digital that had the most money, they wanted a young person driving that ship for them. Because if you were over 40 and in marketing at that time, you weren't as credible as when you were in your 20s. So I learned a lot quickly. I mean, that's what I'm really good at is surviving, and I'm still learning.
Well, we learn every day, and I think just to the point of the last 4 years, and every single day, the COVID years fade away and fade out of memory, which is a good thing and a bad thing. For all of us who started businesses during COVID, because I started a number of businesses during COVID, I actually opened restaurants during COVID.
That you did.
I mean,
That did well.
There's people who are insane, and there's people who are like me,
And then there's
a little next level insane. But yeah, not only did we survive, we thrived we survived through that period, and we're thriving today as a result of it because we doubled down on the little thing called brand. Why don't we start with what your definition of brand is? In the simplest way, what is brand? So when all these people hear all day is brand this, personal brand that. What is brand?
A brand is a mini universe, right? It's the experience, it's a feeling, it's a tone of voice, it's how something makes you feel in a consistent way so that you want it to be a part of your life or you don't want anything to do with it, right? A brand is everything. It's who you are as a person. It's the kind of water you choose to drink. It's how we choose to sort and align ourselves with our purchases.
I love it. And I also think my definition of brand is when someone that you don't know, as well as somebody you do know your whole life, if they know what to expect from you, if they have an understanding of what to expect from you, that is your brand. It's also called reputation. It's also called integrity. It's also called being a charlatan. That could be your brand.
Totally.
So your brand is, in my definition, when somebody asks me what personal brand is, very simply put, it's the mini universe. Because there's social media. That's why we're talking about brand. Because social media takes a life of its own every single day. And it will continue forever at this point. It'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So having a brand is the only way, in my opinion, that someone can survive in a world this fast and this complex and manage their message to the world. How does one do that?
An authentic capture of themselves. Ooh, how does one do that? I mean,
well, maybe it does start there. You just said something, and you said it in a very low voice.
And it's an authentic representation or capturing of who you are as an individual.
What does that mean? How does one do that? What are they looking for?
What's interesting about marketing, especially in the real estate space, because I'm going to tell you what it's not. A lot of realtors get sold a cookie cutter, inauthentic approach to marketing that's being disguised or masked as a veneer of strong personal branding. So what it's not is a photo on your business card or, your headshot on a just sold or just listed sign, right? Like a brand is complicated. Like there's a lot of layers, lots of moving parts, and it's a commitment in yourself and in your future. And so I can't just say, here's a logo, Simeon, you have a brand, right? Like a brand is it's a living, breathing individual. It's a soul. It's making sure that the experience you have online is what they get when they meet you in person. It's
that god darn human component, isn't it?
It's capturing who you are in an authentic way that works.
And that it will resonate with a person that appreciates
and wants to buy
what you stand for.
Yes. No, and that's why it's not a simple answer, and that's why a lot of people want a brand, but they don't want to do the work to maintain a brand. And I can't just say here's a brand. Right? Like it's a process, and it's making sure that you're authentically living and breathing and operating in a way that aligns with who you are as a person. Like you can't say I have a family brand and treat your clients like shit. Right? Like so it's a brand has to be authentic. You have to be leaning into who you are, and it needs to be captured in a bunch of different ways. Creating content is a great way. Authentically capturing who you are, leaning into education and thought leadership, and being okay with giving away free information. It's having a brand and a logo and a website that clearly communicates what you offer and what your values are, so that your values can align with potential customers in the future. Like people want to buy with who they align with.
So I think what I want to do is, you've done an extremely good job, in my opinion, in explaining kind of the psychology behind why a brand is necessary. We are in the service industry, and we're in the service of people.
Yeah.
Selling a home, the home doesn't know it's being sold. The person impacted is the seller and the buyer. And unless you can communicate clearly the value proposition that you can afford that transaction, but more importantly, that person, how they're going to feel going through this transaction, their comfort, their fears, their goals, their agenda, the seller's agenda, which is exactly polar opposite of the buyer. One is looking to get the most money. One is looking to buy for the least money.
Yeah.
How do you align the two successfully? And there's thousands of us globally that do this every day with grace, integrity, and bringing value to the transaction. But there's hundreds of thousands of us globally that do a terrible job at it. And the difference could be the values that we have instilled, the reason why we're doing it. And I think all of those things is kind of where you need to start. So if you're hearing this show right now and you're wondering what the value prop of what you're going to get out of this show today is, you're going to get some recommendations today as to how to look in the mirror and actually understand if you don't have a brand. So if you've just been out there doing the thing and you're starting to get a little tired and burnt out, more than likely it's because you don't have a purpose for getting up in the morning and you're just going through the motions. That's part of brand too.
Yeah, totally. I would even go so far as to say is most people watching this don't have a personal brand, or don't have one that's actually saleable or identifiable, because most people think that their reputation alone in the small pocket that they know is good enough.
And maybe it is good enough for some people.
It may be, but to go back to your point, like we're never moving away from digital. Like we buy through our phone. So unless you're top of mind and engaging with the small pocket that you know in a way that's frequent and consistent, you're probably going to be forgotten.
So to be absolutely clear, the people that we are speaking to today is our brothers and sisters in business. And I don't care if you're in the real estate business, the mortgage business, the insurance business, any sales business at this point. If you are looking to grow in 2023 and beyond, a personal brand is an absolute necessity.
Totally.
If you're comfortable and you're looking to stay where you are and or decline, by all means do. You don't need a brand. Keep doing what you're doing.
I disagree. I think that we're at a point where if you don't invest in the minimum requirement of a business in 2023, which is having socials and a website and at least creating content on a somewhat frequent basis, it's like not having a cell phone as a realtor. Like we because
you don't show up.
You haven't showed up. Like, and you're going to be seen as old and outdated. Like these are people, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's you're buying your home, this is a very serious transaction in these customers' lives. And if you look outdated, you look outdated. I don't want to work with you if you're not up to date on modern technology, and I don't care how old you are. I have more and more people coming in off of TikTok that are over 60 that are like, my brand is dying and I'm the best in the industry, but nobody knows I'm the best anymore because I'm not Googleable. And that matters.
Of course it matters. Of course it matters, because nobody checks their mailbox anymore at all.
No, but think about it. Like, think about, that good old Uncle Fred that maybe really wasn't your uncle, but your family called him that because he would stop by, once every 2 weeks, 10 or 15 20 years ago. You've met so many other people since then that you interact and engage with on LinkedIn. You have such a small window to decide who you're going to go with. If you haven't already thought about that person before you make the decision, you're out.
I absolutely love how adamant you are, because you're right. So I personally agree with you. And this is, I believe, this is going to be maybe that show that gives you that little boot.
Kick in the pants.
Kick in the pants to get going. It's objectively
how we buy. Like, even when we talk about reviews, like having the ability to have your customers and clientele review you, even if you have a very small pool that you've been helping for 10 years, reviews extremely matter. Even think about your parents, or my grandparents. They're on Amazon. They're reading reviews. Like, these are not
100% they are
brain dead human beings. Like, just because they're in their 70s, they have more time than ever to be at home and play around on their iPad. Like, they know how to use simple things.
Yeah.
And the internet is simple. iPads are simple. Opening up Instagram is simple. My grandmother follows me on Instagram and she's 85. She stays up to date. Like, these are not feeble individuals. Like, they want the best value on their mortgage and their home.
On everything.
On everything.
On everything. The consumer is savvier and more educated than ever.
Even more so than millennials, honestly.
How do you know where you stand? How does one audit their own image to know where to start?
Totally.
How does one start? So if you haven't, because I'm going to share, give me 5 minutes and I'll share kind of what I've done since the beginning of my career.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
As well as what I've done with my partners since the beginning of my career. I'll give my personal take on it. But from your perspective, as a brand strategist, as a marketing agency, what advice, or how do you onboard a client? What do they need to do simply to know where they stand? Like, am I completely out of touch? Am I halfway there? What do I need to do to improve today? What questions do I ask myself?
It's difficult because your audience is going to be coming from a wide range of backgrounds and realities of where their business is at. So I would say, kind of as a starting point, you should be getting at least a diagnostic of your business from a marketing and branding perspective, let's say every 2 years at a minimum, right? Because the landscape is moving so quickly, things are changing, and especially when you're in the real estate industry and if you're busy, not focusing on your marketing is a big detriment. So like you go for tune-ups on your car, like you go to a financial advisor to do, for your taxes yearly, you should be getting some kind of a marketing and brand audit every 2 to 5 years. The second piece of where I'd start before we kind of lean into it is you should be investing 10% of your gross revenue into marketing. And that's not labor, that's also ad spend. So that's just keeping that kind of advertising and marketing, that top of mind brand awareness running for your business. So those are kind of the two places that I would like the listeners to start with, because if you haven't redone your website in 10 years and you're not investing 10% of your gross revenue in marketing, you probably have a branding problem.
You probably do.
And that's a good starting point. The second is, it's difficult because there's so much garbage that's being sold in the marketing industry that a lot of people are paying for marketing. They're trying to check off that box. They have socials, but they're shit. And for people that are watching this, if you don't know what a true personal brand looks like, if you're not creating 1 to 3 pieces of organic content per day, that's not you outsourcing, to some team to create flat, just sold graphics, you probably have a branding problem, because people don't care about flat graphics that mean nothing. I don't want to read April stats of the Toronto market. I want to watch and hear someone I connect with talk about it and give me
and how is it relevant to me?
Yeah, and explain why it's relevant, right? Like, I don't want to get these Royal LePage stats that they send every realtor at the top of the month about last month. Like, I've seen it. I've been in marketing for enough time. Like, if you have that access to that information, so does everybody else. Find a new way to present it, right? And it's the biggest, I guess, to answer your question, if your brand isn't all about you and doesn't capture what makes you unique, you're in a very, very, very saturated and competitive marketplace. There are so many realtors in Ontario, like more in the rest of the country. It's like a sickening number.
Or the world.
Yeah, like it's sickening.
There's 75,000 realtors on the Toronto Real Estate Board.
And they can all buy and sell a house. So what is your differentiator? It's you. So if your brand isn't about what makes you unique, what makes you different, what you bring to your clients' transactions, you've got a branding problem.
Well, I'm going to go over a couple of things. So to make this less daunting for everyone, you're not up against 75,000 people. You're up against the people in your audience's network. That's it. 200 people, 500 people, 5,000, 15,000. It doesn't matter.
Good point.
You're only up against the competition within your network. So if your audience, this is where everything you just said comes in to practice, into reality. When you open your phone, or the people on your network, the people who follow you and you follow, when they turn on their phone, who do they see when it comes to real estate, when it comes to mortgage, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to camping gear? It doesn't matter what business you're in. We're in the real estate business. So if you're in the real estate business and you're investing in brand, your brand has to be effective enough for the people in your audience, not the city of Toronto, not the country of Canada, not North America, but in your life, 2, 3, 500 people. Those people need to know that you are the best and only choice for the service that you provide. And the way you do so, what you just said, you don't put a flat graphic up. Oh, I put my post up for the week. No, you didn't. Take that down and make a 15-second video, a 1-minute video, explaining that right now we live in Mimico or Rosedale. It doesn't matter where you live, but right now in Rosedale, the absorption rate is 1 month. What does absorption rate mean? That means that if people stop listing houses today, within 27 days, there'll be no houses for sale. That is a seller's market. This creates competition. If you are looking to understand how to get yourself a home in Rosedale, let me bring you in. Come to my office, set up an appointment, and I'll show you exactly how to win in a market like this. That is how you explain.
It's engaging.
It's engaging, and you're telling the consumer direct what it is they can expect from you if they are looking to buy a home in Rosedale.
Totally.
Not a 0.75 Rosedale with a little house graphic. What does that mean?
Nothing.
But
I think also too, so that, those watching and listening to this don't feel overwhelmed and that there's a lot of people making video. I want to just break down 2 things you said that were really important. The first is...
Sorry, who was this?
What you were just saying. I want to just break it down into 2 points to make this a little bit more digestible. The first is there is a shortage of engaging content online in the service industries, right? There's a lot of YouTubers, there's a lot of dancers, there's a lot of puppy videos. There's not a lot of strong, articulate service providers that are creating great content for a local audience, right? And it's relatively inexpensive to create video. Like the cameras that come on iPhones are incredible. You don't have to have a full production. You can grow to get there. And I do want you to grow to get there. I want you to have goals to invest in yourself, because when you make yourself look better, people want you. They know
what to expect.
They know what to expect. They're willing to pay more. They won't negotiate on your percentage points. They'll feel more confident. They'll enjoy the transaction more because they know they're working with the best, and that's positioning. But you don't have to start there. And for me personally, I was doing well before I started creating content, and I was telling all my clients to create content, but I wasn't doing it. And the moment that I actually started and I invested in creating content, I couldn't be more thankful. It's changed my life because I'm saying the same thing, but I'm able to reach millions of people. And
millions.
And
people don't really understand that. They can't get their heads wrapped around it. Millions.
While I'm working during the day, and when I wake up in the morning, I have people that want to book a consult with me and work with me because they were watching videos in a different time zone when I was sleeping or while I'm working. And the realtors listening to this, the algorithm is smart enough. If you're always talking about Toronto real estate or Mimico real estate, they're not going to push your video to Indonesia. Like the algorithms, that's what makes TikTok so scary on the news, because the algorithm is so powerful and it's so intelligent that your videos aren't going to be shown in China unless you're just creating general thought leadership and someone in China is looking to buy in Toronto.
Sure.
Right? So for my business and for the content that I strategically create, so when I create, as an aside, content on Canadian businesses, my reach is tiny. So I did like a roll up the rim video that did well, but it hit 70,000. When I do a video on Dyson, it goes to 1 million because the brand Dyson connects with more people than Tim Hortons does. And it's a numbers game. So take this, what I'm saying to you is, if you're creating content on Mimico, you're going to reach a much smaller audience than if you're talking about real estate in Ontario.
But you just might reach the people who will actually transact.
And that matters. You're not looking for millions of views when you're servicing a small pocket.
And all I'm saying is, you can get as big as you want. We have built, so me personally, my business partner, Jazz, who creates a tremendous amount of intelligent, amazing content every single day. I know we do our best to create all the content in the world as well. But as a brand, the two of us, we are known for servicing and educating both agents and the consumer. What that has resulted in is, after 17 years of it, because before TikTok, before Twitter, before Facebook, we were selling real estate and we were in hotel lobbies and in private rooms and in big boardrooms with 10 people, 20 people, 50 people at a time, where they would have to do a survey at the end everything that happens today, but not at scale.
Yeah.
We had to be inside the room
With
every
13 people.
time.
Yeah.
Whether it was 4 people who showed up, 40 people, or 400 people. But we did it. So what does it cost to do a brand? Because people always ask and they expect the answer to be $100,000, $10,000. Nobody's talking about dollars. Brand is commitment. The cost to brand is consistency.
Yep.
When you feel like garbage because you're sick, when you are happy and excited to go on vacation, but you have to shoot a video that morning. The cost of a brand is your commitment to your brand, and your brand becomes the reflection of that commitment, where people can count on it every time, bar none.
Yep.
If anyone is wondering what the cost of a brand is, it's thousands of dollars multiplied by thousands of hours, multiplied by thousands of lost moments with family, friends, and otherwise. It is thousands of moments of fulfillment, happiness, and joy for hitting goals that you never thought were possible. And it overarching creates an entity that is both reliable, known, sellable in most cases, if that's what you want. And you can ride your horse into the sunset knowing that a job has been done and your legacy has been set.
Amen. And I want to clap to that. It was amazing.
Let's go.
But I want to give even my own personal anecdote to that, because I've got tons of examples of how personal brands have changed my clients' lives. But for me to get here and be able to explain to them the power of it, it's easy for me to tell them the power of it and for it to be successful. But what you don't see is how much I didn't want to be on video, how much I hated the way that I looked or the sound of my voice, or I was the crippling fear of like being judged and having, people that knew me before I got into work, like snicker at home and share these videos around because I was trying to create content. And it takes time to get good. It takes time to be able to get that video in under a minute and not trip over your words. But this one time when we were doing a video shoot, I was getting ready in the morning to do the shoot, and half the shampoo, I guess I didn't properly wash out. So like it was so bad. It was so greasy, and I had to go because the video team was coming. There was no time. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? It's going to be a slick back bun day. So I do a slick back bun. I'm in the office. The team is there. They don't tell me that my fly is undone and my shirt is like tucked weird.
Just a train wreck.
It was as bad, and I also lost my voice like permanently for 4 months, so I sounded like a chain smoker, and and this is someone that doesn't want to do video, that doesn't feel confident on camera, that isn't ready to feel judged. The video batch came out edited, and I looked like my father, and I didn't want it to go out. I hated it. I was like, absolutely not. I can't do this. This is the worst thing for my brand, for me to be putting myself out like this. My team didn't listen to me or didn't get the direction. Who knows? Video goes out, hits 1 million views, and it changed my life. And overnight, I got 10,000 followers. Overnight, I had, and this is when the recession had first hit. People weren't signing contracts in marketing. I was stressed out. This is the first recession I'd been in as a young professional. I'd never seen anything like this in my life. And I was in grade 7 during the 2007 crash.
This is your first recession.
This is my first, holy shit, what is going on? And this video changed my life. And if it was up to me, that video wouldn't have gone out. And it just shows, get over yourself. Because the worst that you think that video could be, as long as you're not, dropping F-bombs and saying you prefer puppies to be killed, you're probably good. Like, get it out there and create content consistently.
So I'll tell you this, and this is, I know people have insecurities and it's a real thing, and I simply, as somebody who was not blessed with godlike features or looks, I am not Brad Pitt, and I know it. But what I do know as a fact is that nobody is looking for Brad Pitt.
No.
People follow Brad Pitt so they can get their beautiful person in for the day and they move on. And they will never listen to Brad Pitt speaking. They will just scroll along to find the Simeons, the Camilles, the Vicks, where they can get value from an opinion.
And there's a shortage of it.
And I'm not dissing Brad Pitt. Maybe he's the most intelligent man on earth and he has a lot to say. But I'm speaking just to his looks.
But it's not about his looks.
People have this insecurity.
Yeah.
Bro, you look what you look like.
But wait, sorry. The consult is happening before they go into your office. So if they're going to meet you anyways behind the desk, you're not hiding those 20 extra pounds you gained, and you're not going to get the consult. Like, it's a major opportunity cost, and you don't realize what you're doing to yourself.
So filters, milters, and shilters, and all the things, and swipe for Paris, and all the things that I hear. OMG. Stop it. You want to use a filter, use a filter. But I will tell you now, your brand should be an authentic image of yourself in both here, mindset in what you say and how you act, as well as how you look. Because there's nothing of a bigger joke than you get a business card of a realtor or anyone for that matter, and it's a 20-year picture, and you meet them and you barely recognize them. Because the first thing you're going to say is, this person lied to me before I even met them.
No, how credible are they? How trustworthy are they?
Why are you hiding that you've aged? You've been in the business for 20 years? You should know that.
Yeah. You should be proud that you've been in the business for 20 years.
So all I'm getting at is if content, because it's that vital to brand, is not being done because of insecurities and fears of what you look like or how you sound, unless you get started, and I mean today, unless you get started today, you're not going to be better tomorrow.
You have to.
I know we are comfortable right now. You just spoke to how uncomfortable you were just a short few years ago, not a decade ago.
No. A year ago.
A year ago. So you started a year ago and you're talking about how it's changed your life. So this isn't pie in the sky, anecdotes from back in the day.
No.
This is you now.
And also, as another piece to this, the way that this works is, like, think about even the way that you buy. Like, you and Caroline don't just like show up to a restaurant and then check out the menu.
Never.
You Google it, you check it out online. She saw it on Instagram. She saved
100%.
it. She sent it to somebody else. So what I'm seeing, and I'm sure that you've probably had the same experience, a lot of wives of business owners will watch 6, 7, 8 of my videos. And by the 8th or 9th, I've earned their trust and credibility. They send it to their husband, say, honey, you got to get this girl to check out your business. She knows what she's talking about. And this is the difference that's holding you back. The husband calls, sets up the Zoom. The wife is typically there because she wants to meet me. She's watched a bunch of my videos and they're ready to sign.
It's incredible.
And they don't negotiate.
But do you see that you're resonating with an influencer inside the home?
Yes.
So the audience can be anyone and anything. Your angle, your business angle, and I'm not saying angle in a bad way, your angle of who you resonate with, and you probably found this out not with intent, but after once, twice, 3 times, where's this business coming from? It's coming from the wife of the business owner. Okay, well, I'm going to keep combing my hair this way, wearing what I'm wearing, because that is touching something.
It's working. It's clicking. But it also goes to say, or to show that the consult or the buying decision is happening way before they meet you.
100%.
They've watched so many of your podcasts. They've gone to your Instagram page. They've checked out your website. You've seen you on the news. They've decided to buy with you before they needed you, and you're the only person they thought of.
PR is by far the best investment, that I have ever made. It has been organic to me to hold a great reputation since I can remember. That was something that was important to me, how it was regarded in the world. Maybe it's the reverse insecurity. Like I need to know when I walk into a room that I'm not, psychophadia is the Greek word. When people speak badly about you, it's a feeling, and it's
an energy. Yeah.
It's an energy that I always worked so hard to make sure that when I walk into a room, my head is always high, that people feel relief when they see me walk into a room. I get something from that. I need to know that I'm a force for the good.
To your brand.
And it's authentic to my brand, but it always has been.
Yeah.
So I work very hard at that. And we did so, and I will tell you now, from the small seminar rooms, this is my real estate practice. Before that, the restaurant, same thing. I was part of the Chamber of Commerce, where I would help other businesses when I was 18 to 24. During school, during those years, always I tried to give value. But in the real estate business, we got the show on News Talk 1010, then AM 680, and we did, AM 640, talk radio, and we had our show, the Real Estate Talk Show, and my business partner at the time, may he rest in peace, Simon, he led that show with absolute simple education. He said, speak to people, don't assume that they know things, just say it from the start to the finish, the process, use clean, good language, wealth simple. Think of great brands that do this very well, because I know you just made a video about that. So clean, simple words that people understand and can use. Don't bore them with the stats. Because me, I'm an analytical person. I love stats. Quickly realized no one else does. Like no one. You'll find 1 in 100.
Yeah.
What people find boring, I find fascinating. Because I love stats. But all I had to do is take the stats that I love so much.
Explain why you love them.
In simple terms.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I became a financial expert, a real estate authority, a leader of the biggest investment focused group in Canada. I'm sitting on the board of 100 million plus REIT at this point. And this is all as a result of reputation, a result of brand. There is absolutely no doubt that it's my brand that I credit for the success that we've had and all the lessons we've learned along the way. That's what I got to say about that.
I love branding.
How can people reach you? What can you do for someone looking to get started in setting up a new image, their existing image? Tell us how you specifically can help a person build their brand.
Well, one, I've got tons of videos that people can watch and consume and ideally follow, and give me some likes and some love to start understanding and navigating the process themselves. This doesn't have to be a hard sell. I also have a PDF document that I'll be sharing with the audience that you guys can use. It's Playbook to kind of go through and audit your own brand. If you want to work directly with me, I offer discoveries. So it's an hour and a half sit down meeting. We go through kind of everything about who you are, what you do, where you want to go, and what you offer. And then from there, I start creating the steps towards getting you a brand, because it's, as you said, it's a shared investment. I can only work with people that are serious. I want to take this to the next level, and you don't need to use me. Like, you can do it on your own, right? All the tools are out there. It's accessible. We live in a very easy to navigate time. Like, you can open up your phone and start creating content yourself through the app.
I disagree. I think people should use professionals. But yes, you can do everything on your own. Just like we tell our clients,
who not how
you can sell your home on your own. We've always said that, and it's always. But
that's a point of power, right? Like the who not how concept. Because you got me to read that book.
Yeah.
You have to, if you're just starting out in real estate, you can take steps. You need to create goals to get to where you need to go and outsource what you're not the greatest at. And if you're good at selling homes, you're probably not great at marketing. But it doesn't have to be, you can't say I can't afford it and I can't do it. That's what I want to stop, is stop the limiting self-talk.
The limiting self-talk is by far, it's all mindset. That's all it is. And that takes time.
It's a great book, by the way, though. You should recommend that, The Who Not How.
Who Not How is the greatest book I've read this year. I've only read 3 books, mind you, but it's this year, but it is the greatest book, and I haven't finished it. I have like 10 or 15 pages left. It's Who Not How by Dr.
Daniel. No, I'll pull
Sullivan. Sullivan. Dan Sullivan?
No, God. That's that. 1 second.
Yes, it is. It's Dan Sullivan. So Who Not How.
It is Dan Sullivan.
Yeah, it's a book that tells you, and it's very relevant to me right now because I'm working on a really big play, a technology play where I rely a lot on strategic partners. This tells you that anything is achievable and possible if you engage the right team. And it shows you ways that you can identify who the right person is, and it's all based on mindset. So when I look at you, where can I put you? It's finding the seat on the bus, like they used to say. Get in the bus, we'll find you a seat. But in this case, it's you really hone down on who the players need to be for you to reach the next level. And I think just to bring this home, definitely read the book. It'll help you at any point to where you are in your career. But to bring this home right now, I think whether you're starting, whether you're midpoint, whether you're 20 years in, if you haven't made the update, because I'm not going to say switch, because this should have been all along as it came along, like what we did. But if you haven't gotten into that digital space and you're in the business 20 years, you need actual professional help now where you can start to use it as maybe you had a reason that you didn't and you do a grand entrance in. But the consistency and the true cost, as I said, of brand is the commitment to it. It's like anything else. Unless you're committed, it's not going to work. So if you're going to go splash $50,000 to build a brand and do it all and think that was it, don't do it at all. Because you're yesterday's news. Got to stay on top of that feed. So on an ongoing basis, how often do you speak to your clients during a branding and a staying relevant exercise? Is it every day? Is it once a week?
I mean, I'm pretty self-sufficient. Like I work with busy people and I'm good at what I do. In the beginning stages, it's once a week. It kind of drops down to like once every 2 weeks, but I kind of use it more as a touch point. Like it's, hey, this is what's going on, or I require this from you. But because I invest so much time in the beginning and like really getting to know the person, the building of the brand it's a lot of work, but it's easy because I'm just capturing who you are, and that's my greatest skill set. So it's involved, but it's not one where you should say, I don't have the time to do this. Like the way that when you're working with the best, they make it easy for you to have what you need to survive.
Amazing. Well, I'm super excited. Camille, what is your favorite social media platform that you want people to check you out on? Unless it's all of them, but what's your favorite?
Well, TikTok is the one that's really changed my life. I mean, Instagram is my personal, like from a human being perspective, the one that I like the most, but where my content is the most salient and where you can access the most content in one place, it's TikTok.
And I've never seen your TikTok because I don't have TikTok installed on my phone.
LinkedIn, so I used to.
So this dinosaur is going to install TikTok today. My team does run a TikTok account. They have started it. We are actually going to be investing in that medium now.
You have to.
Again, we have to, and I know we have to, and I was trying to avoid it like the plague because all I needed was yet another social media platform, but the world has spoken, and it's not up to me to decide where people want to spend their time.
I don't even use TikTok.
That is the lesson here. Again, that is the lesson here. We cannot have a say. Well, we can have a say. We can choose to not participate.
It's just not intelligent.
Our results will pay the consequence. So I want to thank every single one of you for joining us on Broker's Playbook today. I hope you got tons of great value out of it. I know I enjoyed this conversation. Please check out this lady right here, Camille Moore and Thirdeye Insight on any platform you choose. They're there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Broker's Playbook podcast. For more of our content or for help leveling up your business, check us out at brokersplaybook.com, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.